Welcome to today's class. Here we'll be looking at JUPEB Biology Practical, and these are the list of specimens that you are going to be expecting in this exam. The first one is Achantina magnata, giant land snail, giant land snail. That's Achantina magnata. So the next one we have there is the one we call the P, which is cockroach, and Q is was Scapula bone. R is pride of Barbados fruit. S is moss plants, and T is what? Mould on what? Bread. So today, let's start from that of the O. The first thing you are likely to be expecting there is what? The identification. In the identification, you are to identify it. Identifying simply means you will be naming it. Then you can name it, which is giant land snail, and then the scientific name of the zoological name, which is what? Achantina magnata, will be a kind of added advantage if you're able to name it. So based on the classification, it belongs to kingdom Animalae, and the phylum the phylum is Mollusca. The mollusca. The phylum is what? Mollusca. Then the class is Gastropodia. Gastropodia. One of their features, we look at their features, they normally have shell. That's the feature of this class or the phylum. They have the class itself, because in the phylum we have other ones like the ones that don't have shell, but then all of them have muscular body. Now, in the in this very class we're talking about, they have shell for their protection. We also have tentacles. The tentacles. They have tentacles. They have eyes, and then mouths for feeding, and then they have muscular foot which help them in movements. And then the next one is the mantle. The mantle is where the shell is normally produced, the shell that cover them. And then finally we have the penostome, which help them in gaseous exchange. So the drawing of this thing will be you'll be seeing it on the screen. So some of the other things you should also notice that is their economic importance. They have, when we talk about economic importance, it's not just all about the beneficial impact, economic value. We also talk about the other one, the harmful aspect of it, the other side that are not very beneficial. We talk about the beneficial aspect of it, that they are macro decomposers. Macro decomposers, they help to, in ecosystem to decompose dead organisms to maintain the ecosystem by decomposition. So another one, they improve the soil fertility, and they also improve the microbial activities in the soil. The harmful effect of them, we should also note about this, is that they damage crops, and some of them are vector of diseases. And another one, you should also know that they harbor microorganisms. They harbor microorganisms because some of them can also harbor something like parasites like some worms. They can also harbor some of those parasitic worms. So another thing you should also notice how to draw a label of it. You should learn how to make a, a, a comprehensive label of this organism as you are seeing it on the screen. Or one thing about the drawing, you should label correctly. You should learn to label word correctly, not just radically when you're labeling. So we look at the other one. The other one we're going to be looking at is the cockroach. Look at the cockroach. Cockroach belongs to the cockroach. The zoological name is Prenata americana. Sounds as if it's coming from America. Prenata americana. And in classification, it belongs to the same group, which is kingdom, which is Animalae, and then the phylum is Arthropodia. Arthropodia happens to be the largest of the largest phylum. There are many. You see them in water, you see them in air, you see them in land, everywhere. You can see them. They are scattered everywhere. And the class of this one is what? Insecta. Belong to insects. They have some features that makes them unique in the phylum they are coming from. One of them is that they have 3 pairs of jointed legs. 3 pairs of jointed legs. And then they have their body is segmented. You have a metathorax, mesothorax. You can also see this in the drawing on this thing on the screen. As you look at this drawing, it will help you to understand what I'm talking about. We have the metathorax, and the abdomen. Down there in the abdomen, they have the spiracle. In the image there, you see all these things. Some of them can fly, and some can't. Especially like during their larval stage, they don't really fly. So these are some of the things I want you to pay attention to. Now there's some unique thing I want you to know about the cockroach. And the male cockroach normally have what we call the anal, anal style. It has anal style. That is one of the things that makes it different. The unique feature that makes the differentiate from the female. Just at a glance in the abdominal section there, the close to the anus there, you see the anal style there. The style there you have is two. You have the anal style, the one very close to the anus, and then the other one which is common to both of them. When the female has the word a pouch, where they help them in carrying the egg. When when they want to lay their egg is always carrying in that pouch there. So this is another important thing you should know. You should note about them. Now they have a spiracle. The spiracle is what they use in what for what? For respiration. They use their spiracle for respiration. Then they have their wing for flight and the antenna for sensitivity in the surrounding to help them to get their, to sense what is happening around them. And then the legs is what they use in movement to run away from danger and to search for food. So another thing you should also note here, you should also learn to compare, because this is both of them are what? Animals. Do you understand? But from the same kingdom. They are from the same kingdom, but there are differences between them. In the same the kingdom, they are coming from the same different phylum and then also different class. So you should be able to differentiate them. One of the things you should know about them is that this one is coming from the group phylum that we call mollusca, while this one is what? The one we call arthropod, the phylum arthropod. And another thing you should note here, I think I will give you a table of this so that it will be helpful. So we have these are some of the differences. If you look at them, you have the mollusca. That is the phylum. The phylum is what? Mollusca. This one is arthropodia. The body of this one is soft, while this other one is segmented, and it has a muscular foot. This one has 3 pairs of jointed legs. Specimen O has what? Shell, while this one has a chitinous exoskeleton. In specimen O, we have two pairs of tentacles, while in the cockroach we have what? A pair of antenna. All of them are doing the same thing. This one is sensitivity. This other one has a play a role on sensitivity too, and also that place is where you see the eyes. So this one, the movement is creeping movement, while this one can walk and also run. Um, Radler present, that is what they use in mopping up their food. And then we have the mandible, which is also doing equivalent job as in crushing. For example, the cockroach has biting and chewing mouth parts. This mandible is part of them that help them to chew and cut out the food they want to eat. So I want you to pay attention to this. And then the next one we're going to be looking at specimen. Which other specimen that we're going to be looking at here now? We're going to be looking at the next specimen, that is specimen Q. Under the specimen Q, which is the scapula. Under specimen Q, we should be able to identify the bone, and then it's also the type of bone we have there is a flat bone. The scapular bone is a flat bone. We should also be able to note that. And some of the functions include what? It serves for attachment of muscles. It forms the ball and socket joint in the elbow here, joint with it, where the humerus is joint. It's one of the places we call the words ball and socket. One of the joints we call the ball and socket joint. Now it also protects the posterior part of the rib cage. This other end of it help to protect it. It also allows the movement of the joints. You can see the movement. So it helps to it allows the movement. It also helps the shoulder to maintain stability. So one of the things you should also note in that thing is that it has a spine, it has a clonoid cavity, and acromion process is also present, and we have an acronaut process. All these things are what you can see in the drawing. You will watch it very well as it appearing on the screen there. And the next one we'll be looking at is a fruit of pride of Barbados, which we label the specimen we will label R. This one is under the class of fruit that we know as what? Dry dehiscent fruits. Dry dehiscent fruits. The dry dehiscent fruits is the one that they are always dry, and they can also crack. They can also crack. And another thing you should know about them is the type of fruit we also call simple fruits, and also part of is a legume. It's a legume. You should note that it's a leguminous what fruit or leguminous plant that produce it. So the fruit also belong to the one that, like I told you earlier on, they can crack. That is, they can split open. They can open when they are matured and dry. They will split open, releasing their seed. This is one of the things you should know, meaning that the kind of dispersal method of dispersal is what by what? Explosive method. That is when they split open, the whole seed will spread out. Then they will spread to another place and then grow there. That's what you should note about this fruit or plant or pod, as the case may be. You should know that the mode of dispersal is what? By explosive mechanism. Pay attention to that. Very, very important. So the next one we're looking at here, I want us to talk about the other one. We talk about the specimen, the specimen, the specimen. Which other specimen are you looking at? Oh, I don't have them here anymore. Let me check. The specimen R, we've dealt with that. We'll be looking at specimen S, which is the moss plant. Moss plant is one of the primitive plants anyway. And then they have the identification is just that it's a moss plant, it's a biophytes. It belongs to the biophytes. This characteristics, their characteristics that um, they have no true roots. Their roots, they have something that look like true a root, but it's not roots. They have something that look like leaf, but it's not what leaf. They have something that look like stem, but it's not what stem. That is why we say that they are what all false. They are not truths. The true ones, they just have it that look something that look like it. They also have their they are complex multicellular plants. They are non-vascular. What we mean by being non-vascular is that they don't have um, conducting tissues. They don't have conducting tissues. So most of the things that happen is by simple mode of diffusion. Water goes out. They don't have special conducting tissues like what you see in higher plants like let's say for example hibiscus plants where you have a well-defined vascular bonds, well-defined tissues that help in what conducting of um, fluid and manufactured food. Now, in the reproduction of mosses, they have two types of reproduction. We have the asexual and sexual. Asexual is just by growing of. In the talk about the sexual reproduction. In the sexual reproduction, the male gametes, that's the male gametes swim because normally they live in a damp area. They are adapted to survive in damp area, musty places. So with that nature, during that area where they are, when during reproduction, the male gametes swim down to the female where it fused together to form the zygotes. So for the sexual for the asexual reproduction is by it has a it occur in two methods. One of them is by what regeneration and pro proton what am I saying? Say protonema. Protonema is one of the method. Protonema and what regeneration. So they, like I have already told you, they adapted to what to survive in what damp places that help them to grow and survive. So the last one we have there here is where the mold in bread. I want you to just note these things and then use this as a guide as you're reading. When you read, you note some of these areas so that you have a very fine result. The next one we have is the mold. The last one, I think should be the last one. Specimen T. This specimen T is the one we see in what? A class. It belongs to fungi. In the under classification, each kingdom is for fungi. And then they have mycelium, hyper, and sporangiums. They have sporangiums. I think I should get this thing on the board. So this is just a sketch of what it's like. Now this is the sporangium. Inside the sporangium we have the spores. We have the spores there, and then we have a sporangium for this is the growth that suspend the sporangium, where this is mainly these spores is well once it's released, once it's ripe, it will burst open, the spores will be released and then it grows and it goes to another place and germinates, forming a new life. This is a kind of method of what? Method of reproduction. So that's what happened here. This is the hyphae which help them in absorption of nutrients that goes into the substrates. So it gets into the soil and help them to absorb um, nutrients. The whole of them is what we call mycelium. The mycelium. This is all the structure that we have here. So now let's go back to, like I told you, in the kingdom we have that kingdom. The belongs to the kingdom we call the fungi. So reproduction in this one is by um, conjugation. That's a kind of primitive sexual reproduction. Now, when they conjugate, then they form a zygote that will grow down to this that will grow to form the sporangium where the spores will be inside. It has some other economic importance. Some of the economic importance is that they help. Some of them are used in medicine, antibiotics. They are used as antibiotics. They help in the composition of dead organisms, and in some cases they serve as an enzyme. They are used in production of enzyme, citric acid, and all rest of them. And other ones is that they can cause spoilage of food. That's some of the harmful activities. They are poison, can cause diseases. They can poison the body. They also damage books. So some of these things is some of the areas that you are going to pay attention as you're studying when you're going through this very specimen. You pay attention to some of these things so that will help you get the best in your exams. And here I'm going to be stopping it for today. And if you are joining us for the first time, I encourage you to subscribe to our channel. And if you have any question, you can leave it in the comment section. I will always attend to you. Remember to share and like. Thank you for coming this far. See you in our next video.